You've never seen love like this, a bond so deep, so pure, that when it shatters, the world seems to fall apart. It begins with two swans, gliding across the still waters of the lake, their movements synchronized like a perfect dance. Together, they create a beautiful rhythm, a quiet symphony that speaks of trust, devotion, and unity. Every flutter of their wings, every gentle turn, is a testament to their love. These two were never just swans. They were two hearts entwined by something stronger than fate. The lake, once their sanctuary, was filled with the echoes of their shared laughter, the soft rhythm of their synchronized strokes through the water. They woke with the dawn, and together they embraced the day with a sense of peace and joy, their bond unbreakable. But even the strongest of bonds is vulnerable, for no love is guaranteed forever. Time passes, seasons change, and sometimes the unthinkable happens. One fateful day, a storm rages across the lake. In the chaos, one swan disappears, leaving nothing behind but an empty space, a haunting silence. Now, only one swan remains, floating in the same still waters, but nothing is the same. The space beside it, the space where its mate once glided, is empty. The surviving swan moves aimlessly across the lake, calling out into the silence. Its voice trembles with the rawness of its grief, but there is no reply. It calls again, its throat tight with sorrow, desperate for some sign that the other swan is still with it, that somehow, someway, the love they shared hasn't vanished into thin air. Yet the only sound that answers is the echo of its own voice, bouncing off the lake's surface, a cruel reminder of the emptiness that now fills its heart. The swan could leave, could fly away to another lake, to find a new companion, but it doesn't. It stays, hovering in the same spot as if waiting for a miracle. The other swan is gone, and yet it waits. Because in the deepest corners of the heart, love refuses to let go. It endures even in the absence of the one it longs for. It hopes for the impossible. The lake, once a place of joy, is now filled with memories. Each ripple in the water, every rustling leaf in the wind, reminds the lone swan of what it's lost. It waits. Time passes, but the swan doesn't leave. It hovers in that place where the two once shared their love. Even as the seasons change, autumn leaves falling, winter winds blowing, it stays, tethered to the memory of the other swan. And in its heart, something stirs. It remembers the warmth of its mate, the comfort of knowing they were together, always. It remembers their shared dances on the water, the gentle touches of their wings, the calm they brought to each other's lives. But now, as the cold winds blow, the swan is alone, and yet there is a flicker, a spark. Something begins to change. It starts small, almost imperceptible, a flutter of wings, an uncertain movement. For a moment, the swan hesitates, its heart heavy with doubt. Can it go on? Can it learn to soar alone without its mate beside it? Can it find the strength to rise once more? And then with a slow, tentative beat, it lifts its wings. It rises, tentative at first, then stronger, more confident. The weight of its grief doesn't vanish, but the swan is moving forward, even if it's just a little. For the first time since its mate's loss, it begins to fly again. The swan soars higher now, its wings beating with newfound strength, though its heart still bears the scars of loss. It's no longer the same bird that once floated in perfect harmony beside its mate, but that doesn't mean it isn't whole. The absence of its companion has reshaped it, made it stronger, even though the ache never fully disappears. The lake below is vast and lonely, but the swan no longer feels quite as small. It has learned, in its grief, to spread its wings wider, to fly higher, to take each day as it comes. The lessons from its lost love have not been forgotten. They have become a part of it, woven into every movement, into every beat of its heart. And yet, as it flies through the skies, there's still a soft yearning in its chest, a longing for what was, a wish that things could have stayed the same. But sometimes the beauty of love isn't just in the moments we share together. It's in the way we carry those moments with us, even when we are apart. The memories become part of us, like feathers in the wind, guiding us as we navigate the world. And so, the swan flies, alone but not empty. It has found its strength, not by forgetting its love but by embracing it. By understanding that love doesn't end with loss, it transforms. It lives on in us, in the lessons we carry, in the courage to rise even when we are broken. But now I want to ask you one final question. If you were the swan, would you rise again or would you fall? Could you find the strength to carry on, to keep flying, even in the face of loss? What does this journey of love and loss teach us about our own lives? Can we, too, find the strength to soar after heartbreak? If you've been moved by the Swan's story, stay with us. Subscribe, share, and let's continue this journey together. Because no matter what you've been through, there's always a way to rise again.